We're finding boring things like names now and numbers. You got me. Hey, Joe, cool. Hello. I haven't seen you in a long time. I knew. Melissa, did I not tell you? I said, oh, look, your beautiful face is going to bring the boys to the yard. And guess who shows up first? Joe Cooler still. Can't resist a beautiful woman. He's a really cool guy, though. He's not a perv. Well, I don't know if he's a perv, but not with me that I am aware of. You know,
yeah, right on.
No, Joe Cool. I don't know.
So we got 3 seconds?
We got 3. No. We got Pam is here. Hello, Pam. That is my friend Pam. Pam, this is my friend Lala. That's my friend Joe Cool. So this is Fred. Yes. Hello. I love friends. So, well, we got 5 people now, so I guess officially we'll kind of start talking. We met recently in a discussion group for people that have had near-death experiences. And we've chatted a few times about that. And Lala has kind of an interesting life. And I just find her fascinating. And I'm super excited that she's come to chat with us. So you don't have to share a darn personal thing in here, Lala. I really am not here to pick your brain. You had mentioned some things, not about that, right? At some point, I think that's cool. So, you share as you will. What I thought we could focus on was exactly what you mentioned in the messages was, how these events connect to us, what's unique about them. And then you were discussing some of the pharmaceutical type ideas. Joe, I know you would, Joe. Goofball. I want to sex you up. That's what you made me think of. That song right there. Ew, get off. As if. I'm just kidding. I did a roast for Joe Cool. I was playing around, and I said, I want to do a roast, and Joe Cool's my subject. And I sent him a mug. Do you still have your mug? So he's a pretty cool guy. Okay, so these types of ideas and how these, so let's start with the pharmaceutical for a minute, because what I found that really interesting. Are you, I just kind of wanted to clarify what I thought you were mentioning. Are we talking about using psychedelics or using some type of medication through either a natural form or explain what you meant by that exactly.
Okay, well, I find from all the NDEs that I've studied and I've been watching, those of us who have genuine ones, like somebody drowned or they were in a car accident or they died some way that was on record. You're in the hospital. Right. They had your time of death down. They wrote down your time of death. You woke up 3 hours later. Everyone was shitting their pants and going, ah! Those ones are genuine, and we all seem to have the same message about no religion. We're all, connected and all that stuff. So the ones that are genuine all have the same message. And the ones that don't die in a hospital don't have anything on a medical record proving they died. All these drug overdoses, they have the most warped message that it makes my blood boil. And it's I think they're being deceived into thinking that they died when they have these drug overdoses, but they don't have any documented proof, because they're always saying that we planned this before we came here to do all these horrible things to each other and all this baloney. Right. I'm like, no, we didn't. We came here to stop all this horrible crap. Right. Whereas the drug overdose is kind of like, they try to justify all the horrendous things that have happened. I'm like, that is complete, utter bull. Bull. I don't know if I can swear on here, but...
No, yeah, I don't... Well, I would disagree with you on one thing, or I wouldn't disagree. I challenge, because my experience is a little bit different. I don't... And I'm sure you have a specific situation or a specific type of drug. I don't know drug. I'm not had a drug overdose.
I've never done drugs.
Exactly.
I will never do drugs. I think they're demonic.
Hey, DC, welcome.
I've smoked pot, like things like pot and mushrooms that are natural. I have smoked pot. I did try a little bit of mushroom tea once, but anything that's made and manufactured.
There you go. Okay, here's where I want to
try it.
Okay,
never.
Then I'm actually on page with you because I do believe
there's no way I'd try anything.
Plants. I believe in spiritual plants. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
If God made it naturally, then it's here for us. But if somebody had to cook 50 chemicals, then that's demonic. It's like witchcraft.
Is that not the difference between man-made, God-made?
Yeah, exactly. If someone mixed 50 chemicals together, that's like witchcraft, like making a witch's brew, and then they're bringing their demons in there. And when someone overdoses on those kinds of drugs, they have like this warped message it's like, oh, everyone just think that all this crap is okay that happened. We planned it before we got here. Like, no, we didn't. Every time I've died, I had to come back and say like things like, don't buy GMOs, burn the GMOs, burn all the seeds, only plant heirloom seeds, like things like that. Whereas they're like justifying like rape and justifying child molesters and all this other garbage. And I'm like, no, that's nothing what any of us heard when we were in the ether. Like, but the ones that have drug overdoses, they seem to think, oh yeah, well, no big deal. We all planned this before we came here. I'm like, nope, that is complete and utter bull. We did not. What did I see? I went into the white. Like, it was so white that it didn't burn your eyes, but it was like 1,000,000 times whiter than the sun. But you could see, and it was fine. The first time, after the white kind of dissipates a little bit, I see it on the internet all the time. It's like this castle on a hill, and it was gold, like all gold, and like it wasn't steps. It was like a golden path that went all the way down to this valley. And that was like my first one, though, or not my first one. I guess my third one. When I think about it, it was my old enough to totally know what happened one when I was 17, and it was like just beautiful after the white, like, because you can't see anything but the white for a while, and once the white kind of calms its tits, then you can see. Yeah, so that was the one where I was old enough to like know what happened. The first two I was quite young, and I didn't know what was going on until later when I really thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what was your, what did you come to let's see, the wording is difficult. I heard somebody say really early on in my experience, it says that when you can't find the words, you know you found the right words.
Yeah, right.
That idea that you get to a point where there's no really way to describe this. So let me think of how to put this. When you identified the white and what that represented for you, what did you classify that as? Where did you compartmentalize that in your life? Representation. Did I get it right there?
White, I didn't know. Like, I
now in retrospect, right?
Oh, in retrospect, now I see it as, I guess, when we change dimensions, it just seems bright at first because we don't have our eyes in, like our other dimension eyes. They have to come online, I guess. And then once your other dimension eyes come online, then the white calms down. Oh, Mark's here. Hi.
Yes. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, and so that's the best way I could describe it. There's this video I can post in the link or in the comment section later. It's called Shayonai, Bringer of the Light, and it gives a great description about people who wear sunglasses their whole lives, and then they take them off and the sun is way too bright. And all the sunglasses people didn't believe this guy that you can take your sunglasses off. It'll be fine. You just got to give it a minute to to warm up, right? And so I'll post that later, but it's basically like that.
Interesting, like the mole people.
Yeah,
But they did it to themselves.
Yeah. Oh, so
Wow.
Slala, who was on the other side? Who did you communicate? Family. We're all there. We're all there technically on the other side because there's no time over there. So we're there. You're there. I'm there. We're all there. But we're just like in a little side loop right now down here because at home, that's our future and our past, if that makes sense. We're just trying to fix things because we had to kind of, I guess, in a free will universe, we had to learn that to have a free will universe, you cannot violate free will. That's the one thing that you cannot violate free will. So the free will violators will have to go to another dimension together because they just don't give a crap about us. Mm-hmm. So we're basically cleaning up that situation of free will does not mean violating other people's free will. So we're going to clean up that mess, and then we're going to continue on from here and make that beautiful future past spot again, because I guess it was bound to happen, right? So we had to come up with a solution, which not like religion is, burn in hell, but that's not it. I built it in Minecraft. Basically, they're going to their own dimension where they have to be with each other only. So they won't have access to people. They won't get their rocks off or get their jollies from terrifying an innocent person. They'll only be there together. So they're going to be pretty tired of each other's baloney.
You know what I envision, that Lala, when I have that thought there, I always think of this scene because, like, my third eye likes to give me these pictures, and I think of that scene in Superman. I think it's the third one when they're trapped in that like glass prism that's just floating in space, and they're just stuck in there. You know, because I have this understanding that hell is not eternal, and that eventually they'll be broke free of that frequency. But for a while, they'll be trapped in it, and until something comes along stronger and can smash. That's why I'm hesitant of the metaverse. I don't know that this is it, but it will lead to that. You know, I'm not going to go down that yellow road. That one is going to lead to hell.
Yeah, we need like 10 hours.
Yes, I love that you said that. That's the visual I have when you're describing your visual. That's the visual I have. Same thing we're saying, same thing. That everyone can have their own version of it. It all is the same thing. Doesn't mean any of us are right? That doesn't mean we're right. Yeah. It means we're all right because all of us have an understanding image of what that means. I love it. Yes, continue on. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what's fun, because you had said the other night when we were talking, or when I was listening to you talk to Mark. That's right. So if you guys will pop links in, and if you give me just a second while she's talking, I'll go in and give everybody blue wrenches, which will allow you to all go sub to each other's channels and share all of stuff that you want to share. But you were talking to Mark, and you were talking about the frequencies, and that was so bang on with how I also view it. When I went there, I came back with it's all static was the symbol that I was given, but it's only because that's what I would see. You know, that's what I'd see. So, but I understood static to be broken down to the negative and and the positive. You know, right? The duality.
Yeah.
So
it's like electromagnetics kind of.
Yeah. So right out the gate, my upper being, that's what I call it, says frequencies. We're all a vibration. We're all just, we're here and not here. Here, HEREHEAR, right? We're here and not here. Yeah. We're seen and not seen, right? So, so talk about that a little, because these, some of these people have heard me already, and I'd like to hear somebody else explain how they kind of see this. I loved how you were describing it the other night, and I'll give links out while she's talking.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how they do like the or whatever. It's like that will make this, if you look up synatics, or what I think it's called sematics, and it shows all the sand bouncing on the thing and it forms a pattern. And then you do like a really high, like a and it forms a different pattern on the speaker or the sand that they put the thing on. And it's sort of like that. But we're kind of trapped in this frequency right now because of fear. Like, everybody's buying all the baloney. They believe in death. They believe all the religious baloney. So we need to bring the collective more into party mode, like more like woohoo, like woohoo. And then that will like get enough of a momentum to get us out of their frequency. But it was taking too long. So in 2019, I had to kind of put in a request, and I think a bunch of people did too, because I was like, okay, there's so many NDEs, but no one's talking. Everyone's afraid to talk about it because they gaslight us. They tell us we're crazy. They belittle you. They totally like make you second guess yourself. Some people get stalkers, anything to make you look like a Looney Tune, right? So in 2019, I was like, okay, we need some help here. So I don't want to say any names, I guess. With one really, really good YouTuber, he told me that yes, he heard the request, and so he was a walk-in. So that's where the walk-ins come into play, is so many people come from the ether as a baby, and the babies know every single thing I'm saying. They remember, right? They don't have the memory wipe, but they get the memory wipe when they get all their jabs or their medical violation. So that gives them the memory wipe from the heavy metals and things. So a great way to get way more people talking was to do way more walk-ins. So that's like their genocide kind of backfired on them, because now there's way more walk-ins that just came in as adults, and they're like, hey man, nope, blah blah blah, and they're totally on board with us, if that makes sense.
So are you then saying that, do you feel like these future generations are going to be, because the millennial generation is described as a hero generation every time. It is the hero generation. There's the 4 cycles. So it's the hero, and the millennials happen to be our heroes this time around. And at first I wasn't so sure, but now you're suggesting that possibly they could become our heroes after all, and not the bad guys. Well, I kind of feel like they're their heroes, not ours. So
yeah, well, the thing is,
are you talking about people that?
The thing is, it depends if they have the memory wipe or not.
Yeah, if learning.
Yeah, if they had the memory wipe with the heavy metals, then they're completely brainwashed. If their parents protected them from that, then yes, they have the ether message. Boom, I will go and say, hey, and they know who I am, which I want to tell you about to Mark. Mark was completely right. There's been 2 more people say the same thing as him. There's this ex-NYPD. He might do a live with me later tonight. He said the exact same thing about finding me and like the Lala. It was Lala, I guess, the law are looking for. And then on Next Level Soul, this lady was on the other night, and she said her granddaughter kept saying to look for Lala. And she was like, oh, is that what because her mom was pregnant at the time, so she's like, oh, is that what your new sister's name is going to be? And she's like, no, Lala. And then the sister was born, and she was like, is this Lala? And she said, no, it's not. And she said, because she was a bit older by then, she said, like Leia. And she goes, oh, like Princess Leia? And she said, yeah. And this is the same as James, this ex-NYPD. He said the same thing. He's like, yeah, no, I've been looking for you forever, trying to do a Zoom and start talking more, because if we have more of us together to back each other, then we can get this message out that we need to stop the memory wipes so people stop getting brainwashed and we can finally get ahead. Because
we do
that's
that
why there's so many more NDEs. Yeah.
Doctors.
And having none of this bureaucracy and all this baloney, like it's just complete waste of time. All the politicians and politics, and we don't need this kind of government. All of it is just a huge waste of time, and everyone's suffering for no reason. So, we really need to prevent the memory wipes and protect kids in the future. And I feel like everyone's jumped on board with that finally. So we are really making progress. Like we really are.
So my question, going back to what is a walk-in? Is my understanding of that is that somebody has passed away and had a near death, but actually they were replaced.
Yeah, they get replaced. Because, like, if they come back as a baby, then they have to learn the language all again. Hope they don't get the memory wiped from the heavy metals. There's, like, so much of a process to bring this information all over again. So, for NDE, like, people that died that don't want to come back because they need a freaking break, a lot of people have had walk-ins. So they'll come back and their wife is like, you're not my, like, who the hell are you? This is not my husband. Like, what is going on? And one of my favorite YouTubers, he said that. He's like, yeah, no, the original, he wants to stay in the ether or stay in the future. And he had a replacement because he stayed under the radar his whole life. So when he had his death experience and was replaced with a walk-in, he could just jump right in and just come spurting out whatever he wanted because he wasn't censored. Like, I've been censored since the internet. Like, MySpace, I was censored on MySpace. I was censored on everything my whole life. So people like him could just jump in and stay under the radar for so long that it was like the cat's out of the bag. Because you weren't watching that guy. He was totally invisible his whole life. And then the walk-in just came and went, ta-da! If that makes sense.
Well, the reason that I'm curious about this concept here is because a part of me kind of feels that way, but not really. And so I get kind of confused with some of the lingo that gets thrown around because I don't come from any of that, and I've tried to figure out what I was experiencing for my own sanity.
Yeah.
So, but there's, so there's times that, and Joe Cool tell you look some of the ones that I get in these zones. You could call it channeling. Hello, Jack, your body. Welcome. And so you could call it channeling. I feel like I'm taken over by my upper being, where she just kind of steps in and says, you just stay quiet and let me take over. I know what I'm talking about.
Maybe that's future.
But I don't know that I would say that I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because the interesting thing, if that's why I'm interested in it, because I think every one of us have our own unique experiences for our own know thyself. Doesn't mean mine is the only way. I'm not the only way to heaven, okay? Everybody just get over yourselves there.
Everybody's way.
And I want to say this while I have a moment for a little public service announcement whenever it gets brought up. Early on in my awakening, my kundalini, my midlife crisis, whatever label you want to put on it, I met a man who talked to me on the phone and helped me out in that early stages. And one of the things he says, I just want, right now, you're going to think that you're a God. You're going to think that you're Jesus. You're going to think that you have something so unique and so special. And you do. But everyone that wakes up does. And if you don't recognize that, you'll become a cult leader. You'll be selling books online. You'll be begging for donations. Those people are only half awake. If they are still begging for money at this point, or if they have the secret to the world and they're trying to sell it, they don't have the secret. Plain and simple.
I think they're actually not even awake. I think they are
not at all.
I think they're spiritual parents. They see that we're telling the truth, and they're spiritual parrots. They just parrot everything we say so that they can, they're all grifting. They're all just making money off our stories.
They mimic you.
Yeah, they're grifters.
And to mimic, right? Being the first thing a baby does is mimic its mom. So that mimicking is a normal human behavior, and a narcissist takes it to the extreme, and that's the mirroring that happens when you're in a relationship with an abusive person. So I can put this on a global stage, and these people are trying to show me that they have compassion, guilt, and remorse for the things that they're doing by coming on repeatedly and reading off apologies that they've printed or a PR person has printed for them. They are not apologetic. They do not care.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest. That's actually one of the biggest things we need to do right now: is educate people about narcissists, how to see the red flags, and how to completely go no contact. Block them. Never answer one more phone call. Just get away, because they are keeping the vibration low. So we should never engage. Don't talk to them. Don't try to get anything back from them. Just walk away. Move forward. Completely no contact, because we can get ahead so much faster that way, because all they're doing is they're just like energy vampires, just draining off everyone. And so that's one of the biggest, most important things, because like I said, for the little plan, step 1 is to restore everyone's self-worth. That step alone will just raise the planet. Step 2, once everyone has their self-worth, that'll restore the family. The real family, though, not the narcissist, not these abusive relationships. And then step 3, that restores the community. So then all of a sudden we don't need all these politicians and baloney, because we're helping each other naturally, right? And then, so basically those are really important things. Everyone's got to be really educated about narcissism and completely walking away. Don't try to win a fight with them. Don't try to fix things. Don't try to get validation. Just completely no contact. Go walk away. Never turn back again.
And this is where Yoda tells us to be willing to kill the very thing you love the most for the Jedi, right? For the power, or whatever. What is it called? You know what I'm talking about.
The Force?
That's because you have to give away, because you do. You have to give away family, friends, locations, belongings.
Yeah.
When you go no contact, you're literally saying goodbye to things that have been in your life forever at some point.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard lesson.
It is,
hard thing to do.
Because the narcissists are such con artists that usually everyone stays with the narcissist. Even people that see through them are too afraid to be the next victim. So everyone rallies around the narcissist, and we are cast out.
Yeah. But don't keep any strings attached.
Yeah. In the big picture, it'll be worth it, though, because eventually, hopefully one by one, those people will finally stop being loyal to the narcissist and see through it, and they'll be set free and they can come to you instead. You know, it's scary for people to leave narcissists, because then they feel like they're going to be like abandoned and alone as well. And so isolated, but eventually, like, look at us all coming together, you know?
Oh.
So we got to give them that bravery to leave the narcissist. We got to set the flying monkeys free.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're scared to be the next target. I think that's the biggest thing holding them back. They're like, well, I saw all the crap they pulled on you. I'm scared to leave because I don't want them doing that to me next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had somebody say, I asked them if they would come testify for me in court. And they said, I can't do that because, well, he's my boss.
Yeah.
Whoa. Right. So my friendship doesn't matter as much as I'm not going to say anything bad about this guy. He's potentially over my job.
Yeah.
So I'll let your life be a living hell. And fair. At least she was honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's what you're dealing with. Most people just don't even understand what is going. That flying monkeys don't even know they're used most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I had the same thing in court where two of my best friends threw me under the bus and signed fake affidavits. And the one guy said, "I don't want to be homeless." So he obviously got threatened. And the other guy said, "I don't want to be dead. He's going to kill me."
Right.
And so I forgave them. I'm like, okay, I totally believe you. I forgive you. I'll find a way. And then I found a way to get someone to sign an affidavit admitting that they all lied so he could take the fall for them because he was moving out of town anyways. And so, yeah, I couldn't even blame them. I couldn't be mad at them. I was so hurt. And when they explained why, I was like, well, yeah, that's true. I could see him throwing you out, you'd be homeless. I could see him threatening to kill you in a very scary way. So I couldn't even be mad at them. It was tearing me apart, but yeah. It's exactly what they do.
Well, I think Ulick asked a question about why we're waking up right now. And I kind of like how she was, because now, so some of you are not from my channel, so you're kind of new here, but I have a thesis that I've been working on. It's not a thesis. I felt like when I had my near-death experience, I managed to grab a chapter, a book out of the library, and I came back with it. I pulled it back. This is how it works out in my mind. And so I started putting all the pieces together. And I've come to the conclusion, based off of everything I've seen, that we're in our adolescent years as a species. That we're heading in this 777 and the 13 and the Shemitah and all these right now are tween years. We're about to have the last 6 years, or hell on earth, 666. We have 0 to 6 years. That's an I am moment. 6 to 12 years becomes an I am moment. And then at 18, we have another I am moment. These are all just developmental stages of children. So I recognize that the pattern plays on top of each other. And once I saw that they are equal, then where I land us right now is in adolescence. When you were talking about walk-ins, that was interesting to me because there's parts of this thesis that I still have questions about.
Well,
one of them.
Can I fill you in?
Yeah, go.
It's kind of like you're on the right track there, but it's kind of like more like Peter Pan or Lord of the Flies. It's like the teacher had left the building for a long time. And so all the walk-ins and all the NDEs are like, the teacher came back into the class now. And it's just like there's people throwing paper, there's a food fight, there's just everything's gone to hell. And so now the teacher's like got the ruler and they're going, class, sit down, settle down, listen. So that's kind of what the walk-ins are helping with, and all the near-death experiences, because it was literally like the teacher left the class and those stages. But imagine in grade 8 or 9, if the teacher left the class for like 2 weeks, it would be like like Lord of the Flies.
Well, because what we've had now also, you have to recognize, is that the last 3 generations, so anything after X generation and a good portion of X generation, was raised by their peers. They were in school, preschool, daycares where it's 1 teacher to 6 babies, 1 teacher to 12 kids, 1 teacher to 30 kids. So that means that you have children actually raising children. All if they have there's no siblings in the neighborhood. There's no, how we got stuck with our older or younger siblings, right? And that generation disappeared. So these kids have been learning everything that they know about the world from the same age as they are, right? That makes it very difficult when you become adult and you can see the behavior playing out because none of them can manage to talk to each other. They're all still trying to fight for attention like they were 6.
That was actually why I did homeschool my son, because I didn't want him learning from other kids. I wanted him to learn from adults.
Right.
Instead of learning from other kids. Yeah.
That's one of the perks of only children, is that an only child tends to have a much more mature look at the world because they're surrounded by more adults, and therefore they have a different perspective of things. And so these placements we have in our location, in our environment, they all play a role in the video that plays before us in this. That's why I'm a big component of know thyself. I think that the only way to heaven is to know yourself, not Jesus. You're Jesus, for crying out loud. You are. You're
everyone.
The halo's on. Yeah, we're all a Jesus. Woohoo!
Yeah. Everybody with integrity, at least.
That's what Jesus was saying. He even says, don't worship me. I'm not the answer. He says that. And then what did we do? We turned it into he's the only way. He never said
instead of behavior.
Through me. And not only that, you have to recognize I don't actually even believe that the Bible is, it's a fairy tale. It is Peter Pan. It is Cinderella.
Yeah. It's it's a narcissist looking for worship. So he made this book claiming to be God, saying, I'm God, so worship me. Well, the real creator doesn't need worship. The real creator loves everyone, and all he wants to do is everyone accept his love, and then we'll heal. It's nothing like religion. It's like so backwards in religion. Like, you better, like, I was talking to my son the other day. I was saying, hey, man, if you don't sing to me for 3 hours on Sunday and give some pastor guy money to go towards his golfing career, I'm not taking you out for dinner. Like, that's how ridiculous it would be. And we were laughing so hard because he's like, oh my goodness. He's like, that's exactly what church is like. It's like religion. I'm like, I would never in a million years. I'm like, I love you. Want to come for dinner? Not like, okay, you better sing to me, man. Give that guy some money for golfing or for a private jet. It's just
what the rules are for, to be broken, right?
Yeah. So that's not what the real creator. That's not what love is. Love is nothing like the Bible. Even the most wise-looking things now look really silly to me. Now that I've learned Hebrew and studied it from the Hebrew, oh my goodness! If you saw what it said in the real translation, most people would be disgusted. They have really backpedaled, and remolded things to be more politically correct over time. Because the Bible is definitely not. I noticed that too. He's the creator.
The gematria, or the number crunchers, the numbies. Some of them get very caught up in how many words, this code decoding the Bible. But they have to recognize that it was made with the code in it. That's not a God code. You're not cracking God's code. You're actually cracking man's code, which was put there for you to crack, which means that
intentionally, just like a lot of the prophecies. They'll write a prophecy and make it happen, or they'll write history to make it look like their prophecies happened. Nobody was there. Show me proof besides something carved in a rock. Like that Gregory Hallett guy, he was making all these planting books in a cave and all. It's so ridiculous. And I'm like, those aren't prophecies coming true. Those are things that you planted to be found to say that your prophecy came true. It was like, he really helped me see through the Bible though. Because I saw how there's no one there at the time.
So declassified alien documents in the White House, yay or nay? Yeah. Right. Do you mind taking questions, Lala?
Oh, I'll take questions, yeah.
Okay, I think Ulick wants to come up and ask. So if you want to join the discussion. If they're planted there, they were planted to be declassified.
Declassified. I think the only thing that goes on with the alien documents is they don't visit White House or politicians or the FBI more than they visit the rest of us. What the declassified documents would say there is that those people gaslight us, and all the ways they've used to gaslight us and get us to shut up. Because like all the alien movies and everything are a preemptive strike, so everyone has that fear in them instead of having the love and hope vibration. When they do see them, they're like terrified, and that keeps them in a low vibration, and boom, they disappear. But if you were like when I was on Mount Shasta, just like do, no big deal, they're not going to go away, and you can get some help. So I think all the FBI documents are about how do we gaslight this person who saw this UFO? How do we make them look crazy? So it'll show how much they've violated the witnesses. I think that's why they won't declassify them. They're going to show how much they have violated and sabotaged the lives of everyone who claimed to have had a sighting.
Which really, I understand to be military, man-made UFOs. I'm not on board with interstellar aliens at this
They
moment.
want people afraid of UFOs.
Yes, I do believe they want me to think there are and use that as a weapon against me.
Yeah.
Hello, you.
Well, they want you to be afraid.
Good evening, ladies.
Oh, hello. Nice to meet you.
No, lovely to meet you, Lady Lala, or Lala, sorry, whatever you call yourself. Joni, I'm fed up saying hello to you today.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, interesting conversation. It's, I'm just reading Joe Cool's the second last, The Bible Code by Michael Drosnin will make you believe. Make you believe what, Joe? That's I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
What?
The Bible is whether it's factual. Lala, you says you studied Hebrew. You've studied Hebrew.
Yeah, like the Bible is about 80% truth, but they take that 80% truth to inject all of these agendas, like obeying authority and having authority, like having kings and queens and all that complete pile of baloney. Those agendas were injected into the Bible. So basically the first king and queen were grifters, just like Gregory Hallett and all these other idiots that are claiming that they're the real bloodline, they're the real king, they're the real queen. No, every single person is meant to be a sovereign. So the only thing it means to be a king or queen is that you are not a slave. A sovereign is not a slave. So no one should ever be any less than a king or queen in their own family, in their own home. So the Bible, the colonialism or whatever, was injected those agendas to justify their royal lineage, their royal rule, their horrible dictatorships. They were like, oh, well, it's in the Bible. Well, no. No, if you go to the ether, you're going to find out that everyone's supposed to be sovereign. Everyone's supposed to be their own sovereign being. Everyone is royalty. The only thing that makes someone not royalty is being a slave. And they've managed to turn the whole planet into a slave planet right now. So not because they are better than anyone, but because they are exactly the opposite. They are completely low vibrational, and they are imposters, and they have got everything completely upside down. So everyone should be a sovereign, not just a bloodline or a family name. Like, it's the most ridiculous setup I could ever think of. So we're here to also undo all of that and get everyone in their head that you are not a slave. A birth certificate doesn't matter. All these legal papers, none of that matters. You should not have to go to a lawyer and go to court and sign all this baloney to say that you're not a slave. Everyone needs to live now. Like, you are not a slave. That their authority is not real. It is self-imposed. They are role-playing. They're all a bunch of role-playing, narcissistic, self-imposed idiots. So yeah, that's what I feel about the agendas there. If that makes sense.
That was a big burn.
Did I answer that for you? Did you understand what I'm saying?
I did, but I understand the word sovereign, but I think it's again, it's like that word God. We're discussing. I'm not too sure of what's meant by sovereign. Like no one's above us, and no one's.
Yeah, it means you're not a slave.
Mm-hmm.
It means you are not owned by anyone. You're not a slave, and no one should be owned by anyone, and no one should be a slave. It is a man-made concept that is completely dysfunctional. It is the most dysfunctional, narcissistic pile of baloney con job ever. And even think of the name religion. I think of it as re-legion, and legion was like a legion of demons, right? So re-legion, and it's a big, huge con job. They join together again to con everyone again, to have slaves again, so that they think they're disobeying God if they disobey the king or queen or government or whatever, when no one has the right to infringe on your freedom or mine or anybody's. So we also need to permeate society with that again, that no, these people don't have a right to rule at all. I don't care what their DNA, I don't care their blood type, I don't care who their uncle was, and those people are the ones committing treason, the people saying, I'm the king or I'm the queen. Those are the treason committers, not us. Not us for saying, nope, sorry. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Joe Cool likes it.
Thanks, Joe Cool. Yeah, I think everyone knows that in our hearts, but now it's just time that they really look ridiculous. They're literally role playing, and everyone's got to stop and say the emperor is wearing no clothes, basically.
Do you think do you really think that would ever take place in the world we live in?
Well, it's sort of getting there, like the 100th monkey effect. More and more people are realizing we don't have to jump through all their hoops that they made and sign all these papers and go to court and prove in court that we're sovereign. I think everyone's saying, okay, well, we don't need to play in their little game because their game is rigged against us. So we have to start laughing at their game and going, you people are ridiculous. We're not playing make-believe anymore. And we have to just move ahead with our lives without them.
How do you suspect, how do you oppose doing that? Because people who still vote think that they're going to change it. They have no other.
Yeah, they're trying to change the narcissist. They're asking narcissists for permission to do things. We got to stop asking them for permission and just do things. You know, people have to stop ratting each other out for having backyard chickens. Stop ratting each other out for having a home garden. We got to start just helping each other without expecting things in return. It's all common sense, but we got to let people have the strength to do that. And I think that's why the restoring their self-esteem being step one is the most important part right now. Because when they have their self-esteem, they're going to be like, hey, just because you're wearing a costume doesn't give you a right to tell me what to do. Unless you've actually committed a crime, no one has a right to tell you anything. And all of their regulations and things are just extortion tools. Like, oh, you need a fishing license. That's an extortion tool. Oh, you didn't have one. Now we're going to give you a fine. That's an extortion tool. No, they don't have a right to do that at all, but people just let it happen. And we gotta just stop. We have to restore everyone's self-esteem and stick together and just not listen to them anymore. Like, if people didn't rat each other out, then nobody would know you had a chicken. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, well, it's always been like that to me, but I don't see any. we were discussing this morning there, Johnny, about people waking up, but we're just getting ready again for a different religion, or maybe Scientology or something, in a new mask, a new identity on it.
New cults.
But that,
The rise of the cult is on its way, but that happens every time there's a crisis. So every time in history that we've been on the cusp of a crisis and sitting in right after and during, that's what the hippie movement just showed you, like a magnifying glass. Everyone's
coming from Ireland, I seen
are extremely normal for our pattern.
But it's not for us, right? We're not going to change. Our age groups, our demographic aren't going to change. But what about the youth of today? Like, they don't see. I know. I can only speak for where I came from, and it seems that
unfortunately,
generation behind me had no interest in religion.
Yeah, but
not that they weren't deniers of it or anything. They just had no interest in it. You know what I mean?
Yes, but can I tell you something about that, though? A lot of people have that dowdy attitude, but the thing is, they are going to be leaving this realm soon, and they aren't coming back. So it doesn't matter if they're going to change. Unfortunately, many of them are going to be leaving way faster than they thought they would because of what they did, because of their obedience. We'll say it that way. So we don't have to wait for them to change. We just have to be the change now. Those of us who are left, we need to concentrate on just building the future, looking at the solutions. All the protests, all that stuff doesn't work at all. It's just a trap to get you put in jail or whatever. All that energy could be concentrated on helping each other with gardening, coming up with solutions that don't require money, ways to help avoid extortion, So unfortunately, most of those people won't be here for much longer. And so we don't have to change their minds because they're not coming back here. They're not going with the Superman crowd, but they will be going to a lower level than where we are now. They'll have to go there for
a step back.
Yeah, that's going to be like the 2,600 years. Yeah, like the ones the narcissists going on the
third grade. Or
like the narcissists going on the first level, they're going to be stuck for, I'm going to probably say 26,000 years. And then the level up from them, like the next three, I guess, we'll probably give them like the next 2,600 years. And then we'll be the ones waiting for them on the next level. And then home is the level above that, which is the future and past, because it's hard to explain, but I gotta make a video with my
No, but Ulick does know what you're describing, because that's what that's how I describe we gotta get off on the 13th floor, Ulick, right? That's what she's describing, the same thing that I am. She's just using different language. And we can skip out here. We don't have to go here. We can and disappear for a little bit and come back when we're much more mature species, where we've already gone through the adolescence and the young adult years where that fear is there. And then we get to come back. Maybe something.
We don't have to go to level 1, 2, 3, 4 if we don't want to help next time, though.
Exactly. I believe
I don't want to. I want to be in party land. I want to be off in party land, swimming, gardening, talking to the birds. And I know I'm an idiot, and I'll probably go back once in a while, but I want to go only as a walk-in probably next time. Like, I'll go for a couple months to help someone out. Oh, I don't want to get trapped down there again.
Yeah. No, and I'm ready. That's not, that's a kind of, to me, a given. I don't even have to, so I'm not planning on it.
Yeah, no, we didn't have to this time either. I was an idiot. Well, not really.
Well,
we are making progress. We are making progress, but Don't you kick yourself sometimes? Like sometimes I'm just kicking myself. Like, why did I go back like 20 times? 20 times I kept coming back. Well, a lot is because I have my son, so I had to take care of him. But so sometimes I'm like, why did I come back here? Why? But I do see so much progress now, so I am glad I came back. But
do you have a choice? Do you?
Yes.
You do
absolutely. Yeah. We're past the tipping point now, though, so it's actually I'm very glad to be back. And yes, you do have a choice. You don't have to be trapped here. But most people, if they have kids or whatever, they want to come back because they're like, I can't just abandon my child. Just because this is paradise doesn't mean I'm just going to abandon my child. Plus, I had planted so many seeds that were going to be confusing if I didn't come back and explain them. Like, I planted a lot of seeds, and I'm like, okay, well, all that work for nothing if I don't go back and explain. So, and then plus now, this time is wonderful because you guys are all here. Now we're all like, oh my goodness, this is really good to have all like a team finally. We've all been so isolated, and holy moly, we finally have a team. Like, this is where things get really good. The druggies believe the loving and blah, blah, blah. Me too. And it's not moving to the next level. It's moving this to the next level. It's bringing where we already are to the next level.
Well, that's why I like I do feel real comfortable with the school idea as a setting here. And it's
that's cool.
As I'm developing and I'm growing up, I have to come to new understandings of the world. I can only explain it from the perspective that I am at that age. So my understanding of opposites when I am 3 is completely different than my understanding of opposites when I'm 33.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so that's basically how math works. And so that idea there of growing up and baby eaters, the things that are happening on the planet right now are very clearly school. I can't even not see it. It's everywhere. I feel like, okay, I have I have time travel experiences, and they represent themselves like this. So I see something or I hear something, an adult, a person in front of me doing or saying something, and I have this time warp sensation of going back to high school, going right back to some table or some overheard sentence, some behavior I witnessed in the hall, some gossip.
Can I just ask Mr. Deegan there? He had a bad accident in the car there. I remember him saying, was that a near-death, Mr. Deegan? Was that a near-death experience for you?
That's a good
call it that.
So I see these as we're waiting for Mr. Deegan. So this kind of lends itself to just what's going on. If I'm decoding something, I'm decoding what's around me. My behaviors are set in stone. They're using them against us. I only need 2 things to be God. I need to be able to recreate God's miracles, which they can do. And I need to understand human beings so that I can recreate them too, right? And they have to understand everything about us. That's what all of the algorithms are doing. We're feeding the beast. Now, to a degree, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because I'm going to be doing this as part of my developmental stages anyway. It's what we do when we're teenagers. We start relating with other people. We start sharing intimately with them things that we didn't when we were younger. I didn't know about kids when I was a kid who might have had a rough home necessarily, not from their own mouths, right? But I did once I started turning my double digits. Suddenly now we were sharing things about stuff that was going on in our homes that we didn't even bother with before because we were just glad to be outside. Do you know what I mean? Or we were in fear of finding out.
Or we thought we were the only one.
Yes. So now we're finding other things. This is a dimensional step. So we've already in way past 5 or 6 dimensions already. It's ludicrous how people talk about dimensions in most ways. So I digress for a minute. But that's why I understand that there's another person.
Mine are different dimensions. Mine are different levels of electromagnetic frequency.
That's why I like the way you describe it, because I can completely follow your story. I might have a different princess name and a different frog, right? But nonetheless, everything you say is equal in my story. I think that's an important way of connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask, is the name Princess Lala significant?
Just a lot of people in their near-death experiences. There's probably been like about well over 100 people in the last like 6 or 7 years who have said like that little girl to her grandma the other day. They said they're looking for Lala. They're looking for Lala, and then that ex-NYPD said he said no, it's Princess Leia. And then she said Lala is Leia, the other little girl, and it's basically like they're chasing us through the different electromagnetic frequencies to try to keep us at their low frequency. So it makes sense. He was trying to explain how it's a lot like Star Wars, and I was like, well, I guess, but it's not being chased over the galaxy. It's being chased through frequencies, which means basically we've got to raise the vibrations. And it's like good vibes or bad vibes. Good vibes are happy, partying. You feel good around people. You know they're not talking behind your back. You know that if you need to use their bathroom, they'll just show you where it is instead of making you feel like, what do you need the bathroom for? You know, like you feel good around people with good vibes. So once everyone's at that level, then the lower vibes, the backstabbers and the gossipers and the liars and the extortioners, they won't be able to reach us. We'll be out of their reach. So it's like we've been running away from these narcissists this whole time. And basically, I think the people that were looking for me is because I'm really good at joining everyone together, like a party planner. So we might not get to party necessarily, but I'm really good at connecting everyone together and helping them feel comfortable with each other and letting them know this is a good person, you can trust them, and if there's a fight, I can be really good at resolving it. And I'm also, one of the things is matchmaking. For some reason, people will fall in love and they will be soulmates and they will be absolutely perfect for each other from the day that they meet up, and it just goes on like that. It's kind of one thing that I do is I'm really good at putting people together that need to be put together, if that makes sense.
You'd say that's one of your superpowers.
My superpower, like matchmaking friends, matchmaking couples, healing misunderstandings, and organizing parties that are all like good vibes the whole time. Everyone's happy. It's the best night they've ever had in their whole life because there was no negative people there. Just really good at that. That's kind of I like the party planner or the
just mediator.
Mediator.
I love that. So, everybody needs a mediator in the family.
Yeah, so I guess that's why a lot of people were looking for me, because they're looking for their people. And so if you find Lala, which is really easy to memorize, I guess, then you know that you found the person who's going to guide you towards your people.
Jody told me once this morning, I thought it was brilliant. Open sesame.
Yeah.
That isn't what it's meant to say, even. It's open says me.
Says me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow. That's That's
I'm
magic.
not surprised.
Yeah.
Worked for
Because
50 odd years. Never knew that.
Yeah. Open sesame. But yeah, that's my superpower is mediating fights, getting rid of misunderstandings, definitely putting people together when it comes to like romantic relationships. The people that I put together, not all of them, but most of them there's more in love every day.
Yeah.
And even for best friends, even if it's just a best friend situation, they're the best team. Or with companies, or like their career will just skyrocket. Like skyrocket. These people are making so much money, and nobody even remembers I exist after. But it just, I watch success just go explode around
I
me.
think they've made a few movies about that kind of an archetype there. There's movies,
Okay.
that are based off of that concept of meeting somebody that turns their world around, and
Yeah, everyone becomes
right. They're just there for a season.
Yeah. It can also go the other way though. People who have, let's say the low vibe people, it goes the other way as well. Like if they try to ruin my life or backstab me or steal, especially stealing, like horrible things happen. Horrible, like they'll roll their car. This one person spontaneously combusted, another person their house caught on fire. Like all these horrible things happen when people do bad things to me, and so I try to warn them. I'm like, please, I don't want you to ruin your life by stealing from. Don't steal from me. Steal from anyone but me, because I watch really bad things happen to people who do bad things to me. So it's like hot or cold. It's really good when there's people with good intentions. Their success will go through the roof. But when people steal from me and do bad things, it's been scary seeing what happened to them. So I warn people, like, please, like, I'm not taking it personally. So I talk them down so they don't go through some disaster. Yeah, because sometimes you don't know, right? And they'll come to you after, and they'll be like, I'm sorry I did this to you. This is what happened to me after, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my goodness, you should have just not done that to me. But
Right. That's a lesson not to be a douchebag.
Yeah, because if I find out someone's planning against me, I try to warn them. Like, please don't hurt me. It's gonna turn out bad. And it's not my doing. There's something that happens. It's not my doing, because I don't want bad happening to my worst enemy. But I've seen that it goes the other way. So that's kind of scary too, I guess. But in a way, it's a protection, I guess. Yeah. But I hate it because I don't like seeing bad happen to anybody. I don't want to know. That's why I want that dimension where they are stuck together. I'm not doing anything. I'm not. There's no revenge on our part. We don't have to do anything to them. They'll destroy each other. We don't have to
They
any
destroy
part of
themselves.
Yeah. They destroy themselves. They can destroy each other. We don't want any part of that. I don't want to ever have to defend myself in any way the way they do. I think the best revenge is being happy and being successful.
Actually, I think the best revenge is never seeing them again.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so special. You don't even get. You can only think of me. That's the only way you get near me is by thought.
Yeah.
That's
You
how
have no accent.
How special I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because, you don't have any contact with me. When we say no contact, he doesn't have access to me now, and it's killing him.
Yeah.
It's driving him fucking nuts. He can't go by my house now. He can't.
Yeah.
He can't ask a friend if I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
He can't. All he's got is that fuel now. That's all they have. So
you can't borrow things off me.
I had a poem, I had said with the narcissist, I have a little thing, a video that I did with it. And I said, we're in Pinocchio in my logo. It's in my Joni Rotten Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, thing I made. And I've got the little, marionette, and I say, he says, I've got no strings attached to you, right?
No strings
That's
attached.
how the narcissist looks. The narcissist believes that they have no strings attached to you. They actually feel like they're the ones holding the strings. But in reality, you are. Because once you disappear for them, you are forever there. That's the thing that's interesting. The mind of a controller means that they know that every time you see a blue car, you think of them. Now, this is true for you. You will see a blue car and think of them. But see, they think about the blue car and you thinking of them way more often than you do, right? You're only triggered by the blue car. You're only triggered to cluck when the trigger word that was implanted during your hypnosis is triggered.
Yeah.
They have this in their head consistently, right? And that's why they want to keep dealers out. That's why they keep people on the line. That's why they apologize. That's why they show humility. That's why they cry big crocodile tears sometimes and love bomb you and give you things.
Yeah, giving you gifts all of a sudden. And that's why they always start with love bombing, because then they take away.
Oop, we lost you, like, okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Probably back to listen mode. He'll come back up. I'm going to share something. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second, what we're talking about, because this is so interesting. When you see,
they start with the love bombing and then they take it away, so you feel like you're trying to get their approval again. Because people get high off of that, and that's their own fault too, though. It's their own fault if they fall for the flattery, and then they're looking for approval from other people. Then they're just gonna fall victim to narcissism. Even people that are low on the narcissism scale, if they see someone who loves approval, like always posting the selfies and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna prey on that person because they can appeal to their attention seeking. So.
Those are what I call human beings, not human beings. It's all about being. That's why I say I'm the meaning of life. That's why my name is the meaning of life, because that's what everyone is doing. It's my understanding that we are meaning ourselves right now. This is WikiHow, how to do anything. And it has a thing here called How to Control People. Now, it's only recently been updated, but I've been sharing this since at least 2019. And it says basically the same thing. Look, what's the first thing we have to do to control people? Understand them. Like, this is how they're doing it. This is how they're doing it. It tells you right here, they're not even shy about it. And then it goes on, why do you think this is such a good idea? Look here, it's going to say, find their motivations. Are you scared? That's a good one. Fear is the good one. Identify the most powerful motivation. I don't want to die. And understand what's holding them back. Why don't you want to wear my mask? Now we have to create confidence and rapport. And look at how they do that. Here's the trick. So let them see you as a hero. Trump's going to save the day. Go cute. Okay. And then it says, give them a sense of community or an identity. And you were speaking earlier about protests and all of that nonsense. Totally, with that, I agree with you. It's useless.
It's going nowhere.
It's going nowhere. Never has. And that's the illusion. You give them a sense of it, but it's never to give you anything. No union is ever worked out in favor of. Okay.
Yeah.
So
all those hours we could have been doing something better.
And then another way of doing this is by creating crises. So we're all part of a community. If you were voting for, say, Russia or Ukraine, or you were making things that were yellow and blue, Maybe you're
Yeah.
part of a community with the rainbow. Maybe your community is more of,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
All the
So they just give
divisions.
you, they just give you a new identity every 5 minutes.
Yeah, they do. It's so
Look at
true.
this. They do things for you. They do things for you. Do things for them. Give them a scholarship for a Lucy Juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Give them a T-shirt. If they donate to the SPCA. Give them a T-shirt.
They were given free weed for the fake cure.
Yes, isn't that disturbing?
Yeah, that's
You
like
wanted
pretty
it down
low.
your. I thought, boy, you want
Yeah.
that in me really bad. You're willing to give me $1 million?
Yeah, free weed, $1 million, donuts. They were just bribing them with anything to cure themselves. And they were threatening them. Oh, you cannot work there anymore if you don't cure yourself our way. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I see that. The government's not going to save anybody. Never has, never will.
They create the problems.
Exactly.
They create the problems. Yeah.
And then it says, let them see you in control. We got this. Don't worry, everybody. CDC's got this under control. The UN. They're in control.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
Jesus,
Look at
take
my
the
life
wheel.
improving.
My life's improving. But wait, can catch more flies with honey. For example, this is where it always catches me because clearly the controllers don't read this right here. They just skip right over number 5.
Yeah.
Where they say, avoid calling their views or choices stupid. Well, they do a lot of that. They call us stupid all the time.
Yeah.
Or explaining your views to them like they're a child or mentally deficient. Don't do this, elites.
They've been doing
forgetting
that
to
the last
read
couple
number
years.
5.
Yeah.
It will make us more willing to listen to you if be kinder and project more positive feelings. When you talk to people, don't be so judgmental, demeaning, or rude, which I found Biden to be all of the above, right? Or confrontational, as he'll say, let's go outside, veteran, let me kick your ass in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk. It even says, don't be a jerk. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm such a jerk.
Build them up. Be positive. And do nice things for them. Give them some money. Give them a tax break. Give them something.
You phony baloney.
When you're
phony baloney. Don't tell them when their boobs are hanging down their face.
When they see you as a nice person, they'll want you to succeed. They'll want you to get your way. You know where else I've seen this? I know you have already. I don't even need to ask you. But the Machiavelli, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
How to 400 years for a slave. All of that. All of those books, all of those concepts.
Yeah.
Use these. This is them.
It's so funny because in the real world, it's so the opposite. Like if they see you as a good person, they prey on you. It's like, oh, well, I know who I'm going to use and abuse.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So after that one, let me come back in because it's better. So it gives you a little example. I just don't want to stay home all summer when my friends are away. I get so sad when there's no one around me. I don't want to be locked in my room. Don't worry, we're appear to their emotions. And look at, if this isn't what they did, I mean, this is what they did.
Yeah,
like some people are showing pictures of babies being aborted, showing pictures of wounded, starving, fat-bellied babies in Africa.
Yeah, right? The virtue signaling.
My mother was lured in by that.
Right. The virtue signal and guilt trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Opportunity to show my virtue.
Oh, right. make sure that you share lots of returning the soldiers reunited with their dog videos.
Yes.
On your
oh my
wall.
goodness. Wow.
Make them feel sorry for you. How many people do that right now? Holy shit.
Wow.
I don't want to stay home all summer. Don't you feel bad for me? I'm going to be so sad if you don't buy me that doll. Oh. Thinking about them, you could succeed. Okay. I think we get the
That's
picture.
the narcissist to a T. Like, most narcissists are so good at the victim role. Like, oh, poor. Like, their whole life revolves around how they dropped their money in the huddle and now they need some more money or whatever. They always have some sob story all day, every day about how they're more important than anyone else. Like, I know you're a single mom and you're paying for his way, but could you pay for my way too? Because it's like they're not transparent.
Well, you know what's interesting? Now, I did an experiment on my channel. My whole channel's been an experiment, but one of the things that I did was I didn't want to I wasn't out to be a channel. So I didn't mind taking donations, but I wasn't, I had no desire.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the people like...
Now, right, so the experiment went this way. So if I just put if you just had the information of where they could donate to you in your thing, if you never mentioned it, you never got it. And so what that told me was that those who mention it a lot get more of it. And so the begging is where that behavior goes to the desperation point. So now, are you begging because you need more? Or are you begging because nobody will listen? And that's where your discernment comes through.
No, I'm not talking about that. There's nothing wrong with donations for your time making videos. I mean, people...
No, I'm not saying you were. No. I'm right on page with you. I'm talking about...
Yeah, no, but I was talking about in real life. Like, there'd be this girl, for example, she made about 10 times more money than me, but she always pretended she didn't have money and would guilt me into paying. Like, she'd show up and she'd be like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't have come out if I knew you weren't paying." I'm like, "Well, we're not dating." But she knew I made so much less money than her, and I was a single mom, whereas she had everyone paying for her. I'm like, "You make 10 times more than me. Why do you always show up with no money?" And
so when did you set your boundary with her?
I started setting my boundaries with everyone about 5 years ago, and my life just went to hell. But it's also, I'm on the other side of that now. Yeah. Thank God. But yeah, I was surrounded by that manipulation all the time. Like, why does the rich girl always show up without her wallet? Well, she forgot her bank card again. Every time.
That's why she's rich.
Yeah.
She doesn't pay for anything.
Yeah. It's crazy. How does she magically forget your bank card again? And I'm the single mom, but I'll just keep paying her and paying for her, paying her way. And then finally I asked, I tried to pull like it was the other way around. Oh my God, it was such an insult. Oh, I'm not paying for a drink for her. Like, just absolutely appalled. Like, she felt tricked into it. Like, I just tried to give her a taste of her own medicine. But I did bring my own money, so I just bought my own drink. But I wanted to, But yeah, they just act absolutely disgusted if the shoe's on the other foot. Like, oh my goodness, how could you need me to buy you a drink when you've only bought me 20,000 drinks?
Right. So scorekeeping is not their strong point because they believe you must score 10 to 1. Is that the
they're entitled. If I do it for them, they're entitled. But if I need anything back, then I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even understand. I can't get in their head to understand what they think. I don't want to be in that head.
Going back to even just the topic here that we started with an hour ago, the near-death experience. So what the one thing that we all have, we have not just one, we have actually a connective amount of things that are in common. Now, our explanations and the way we describe them and write our book or our story about them varies because, well, I'm different from you. But all of the things all the language, the God language is the same. We just have to recognize that we're interpreting the same thing. I'm just calling it something different because I live somewhere else in my mind than you do, right?
Yeah, and it's awesome because we reach different people that way too.
Yeah, and so now, again, this kind of takes you back to the Tower of Babel because is it because people start arguing? I almost wondered people started arguing. Maybe they learned too much about each other. Just a concept. Anyway, back to, so when I think of that, the idea of, I joke and say, God told me not to worship nouns, no people, places, or things, including God. Like it said, don't worship any people, places, or things, including me. That's what it said. And I've heard you and a bunch of other people describe the same thing, that we are not special in any way. And that
but we are the most special.
We are, right.
At the same time. Yeah.
Collectively, we're special, yes. But then that we're only special because, it just depends on how far that rabbit hole you want to slide. Other things that connect us,
Yeah, like you're so right. It's like I don't like new age anything, but I do like that metaphor of the ocean and the drops of water. Like we're all just as important because that ocean wouldn't exist without every drop, right?
Right. And sometime I'm in constant condensation form. I'm Elmer Fudd again.
Yeah. So
I'm in a gas form every now and then. I'm cloudy with the chance of storms.
cloudy with the chance of spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
Yeah. But I keep getting a message from my friends, and I forgot all about them. And I am kind of getting sleepy. So I was wondering if do you want to catch up and do another video sometime soon?
Sure, I'd love to.
Get going. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it again. So just check and see what you've got, and then we'll, so we'll do another.
We did pretty good. We got an hour and a half in there.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I'll probably stay on for a little bit.
Okay, well, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. And we should do this again. Okay, love you. We'll talk to you soon.
I love Princess Lala.
Bye.
Excellent. And so